Well, then we should go ahead and get started.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's start with minutes from the last meeting. Any questions, comments about the minutes?
I saw one error on the minutes on number 6. It said March when it was supposed to be October.
Good catch.
Is that, oh, yep, okay, got it. Thanks, Meg.
Anything else? The motion to
I will move approval with the change that Meg mentioned.
second?
I'll second.
All right, Aaron seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I
All right, so let's get right to the first agenda item. We have been neglecting this for a long time, so I'm super happy to see it at the top of the list today. And that is funding opportunities. And so I think we should perhaps start with percent for art because we've been working on that for a really long time. And that's something I would like to wrap up if we can. We probably need to update the new folks on the percent for art. Who would like to do that?
I can, if you want,
That'd be great, Abby.
if I can find the sheets. I had them in the packet, right? Yes, okay.
Yes, there, it should be in there.
All right, so I guess as background, there are many communities across the country that have a program that's called a percent for arts. And it's typically tied to capital infrastructure projects that a municipality would build. So for example, if a city builds a new building or a county or a state even, and they're spending $100 on the building, they would spend $1 on the arts in simplified math. So in other words, 1% of the total capital project would go toward the arts, and typically it's some sort of permanent public art installation within a building. So it's a capital project. It's actually not that dissimilar to what we did when we built the police station and municipal courthouse, which has the stained glass windows. It's called Pheasant Ranch Impressions by Josephine Geiger. That wasn't a percent, but that was a $50,000 capital budget item within the police and municipal court building. So the spin on it that the arts committee has been discussing taking is, instead of having it tied to the city's capital budget, which is very hard to come by city funding or capital funding, we would instead tie it to TIF projects. So when a developer comes forward and requests tax increment financing for a development project, we would take a percentage of that, or 0.5%, and put it into a fund that could be used for permanent public art installations within the TIF district. So the TIF districts in Middleton, we have 2, TIF District 3 and TIF District 5, and they cover a pretty good area of our community. Most of the Parmenter Street corridor, the whole downtown, some of University Avenue, a little bit of Allen Boulevard, and most of the lands that are west of the Beltline. So there's a pretty good opportunity to be able to spend funding within that TIF district if we were to get the percent for arts. I think, you know, I know that this was, I think the arts committee didn't necessarily agree with my take on it, but I actually think that if we were to get a percent, we would have a very difficult time spending that amount of money, just because of how laborious it is to send out a competitive call for artists, do a competitive process, get a project installed. I mean, that takes quite a bit of time. And so, you know, I think I had suggested, as we left off, that we look at 0.5%. And then also we would have a maximum cap of $50,000. So we had presented this way back. Katie was kind of the spearhead for it and an early supporter. It's still on the minds of city council members. Alderwoman Kathy Olson just came over to me after the council meeting on Tuesday night and asked, what's the status? I really want to see that happen. So this is to me, this is like the number one way to get a significant influx of funding for the arts, which we've been lacking.
Yes, and so what is the next step then for us, Abby? Do we need to present to the council?
Yeah, and I think where we had left off, it sounded like the arts committee members wanted to be present for that meeting so that they could each get up and speak at the microphone during the comments from citizens present, which is 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting to support it.
Yes, I think I think we should still do that. I think that committee members should come and support the initiative, because the more people that we have in support of it, the better. So I absolutely would like to get that on an agenda soon if we possibly can.
Abby, I have a question on TIF districts. Hopefully it's not too hard of an explanation because it's kind of confusing. So you said like one of them expires soon, right? Or something like that?
One of them, so TIF District 3, which is the second largest TIF in the state, that expires in 2030, but the end of the expenditure period is always 5 years prior to the closure of the TID. So it ends in 2025, which means that for TIF District 3, we only have a few more years of generating increment for projects. TIF District 5 goes to 2036, and the end of the expenditure period isn't until 2031. When TIF District 3 closes, we will highly likely open a new TIF district because it is the #1 economic development tool that communities use, and we want our downtown in a TIF at all times because we need to. Vibrant communities continue to invest in their downtown, which is the heart and core of the community. So we would probably be looking at creating a new TIF district after TIF 3 closes.
That was my exact question. So thank you. And that's what I was just wondering, like what happens when they're all done? So they just keep regenerating, basically.
Yeah, we would just have to you have to go through a pretty extensive process. There are requirements. We have to look at the base value of land. We have to, if we're looking for a blight determination, a certain percentage of the properties have to be blighted. But we've kind of set up the University Avenue corridor as our next target area. And we just had a master plan approved for that corridor. But we would hook it to the downtown and keep the downtown in. That would kind of be our goal, is to keep downtown in. And TIF district funding, by the way, was the type of funding that was used for the public art installations that are at the Stonehorse Green.
Okay.
Abby, I am someone who has trouble understanding financial stuff. And so I'm going to try and put it in the way that I think I understand it. And in case someone is saying, gosh, I don't want to say anything out loud, but this is like hard for me. So in these certain areas where they want to build up, like if it's an area that's like full of blighted properties and stuff, they make these districts where the property owners, particularly developers, they still pay their property taxes, right?
Yes.
They still pay them, but instead of them going into regular places where taxes go, it's kind of collected to kind of help that area improve.
Yes.
Does that make sense? That's my simple pea brain way of explaining it to folks when they have questions about it. There's a ton more detail, but that's kind of, if anyone is.
That's super helpful because I thought that those areas paid extra taxes that went
so-
to the TID. So it's just their normal taxes that go into like the special fund.
Yeah, and some people think that when like a business is brought in, that they don't have to pay taxes, that they're getting away with something, but they still have to pay it. It's just going into a different fund than the regular system, if you will, the regular machinery of where the taxes go.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is my favorite chart that I'm showing here on the screen. I'm sorry I can't get it to like blow up full screen, but this I think is the best way to explain it. It's when you create a TID, you have a base assessed property value, which is this here in green. And that is divided in Middleton, about 50% goes to the school district. The county gets some, the technical college gets some, and then the municipality gets some of the tax, right? When you create a TID, the base value is still going to those same 4 taxing jurisdictions, but the property value increases over the life of the TIF district, in some case through economic incentives to spur additional development in an area that needs help. So for example, the downtown, we have environmental contamination that's present all over the isthmus in every downtown, and that is expensive for soil remediation. So we can help a property redevelop by providing an incentive, and then their tax value is going to go up over that time. And all of this increment in the triangle shape, the new increment that's created, goes into the TIF district fund for city projects that support additional economic development, as well as for incentives for private development within that TID. And then when the TID is terminated or closed, those increased taxes go back to the 4 jurisdictions. And some would say, why would the taxing jurisdictions agree to let 100% of this increment go into the TID? It's because they know that we are helping to increase that value over time, and they all serve on a review board with the city, and they have to approve any changes that are made to the TIF district. So when we close a TID, we work with the representatives from all these entities. When we open a new TID, we work with them. We have annual meetings. So there's a lot that goes into it.
That's cool.
And so when a developer is asking for help like this, they want to participate in this TID program that is going to help them get going on a new project. We're saying, yeah, cool, we can help you out. And one of the things that you have to do for us is you have to donate, or you have to set aside 0.5% of the cost of the project, is it?
It's of the TIF amount that they're receiving.
Oh, yeah.
So if they're gonna apply to the city for $3 million in assistance, whatever, I can't do that on the fly. I should be able to, but what's 3 million times 0.5%? 1% would be, well, so they would be at the max then. They would be putting 50,000 in.
Mhm.
Is that right?
It would be capped at 50. It would be 150 at 3 million.
Right. Yeah, it would be cap. We were talking about having a cap of 50,000. So they could either put that art into their own site. They could do that, but if they do that, they're going to have to be responsible for maintenance, or they can give it to the city's public art fund to be spent within the TIF district, in which case the city would install it on public property and take over the maintenance requirements.
Do you think 50,000 is enough of a cap, Abby? Because everything has gone up in price. And I am just wondering if we should kick it up to 75, perhaps. Although we have been going at the cap of 50 when it's been brought up at meetings previously.
Yeah,
I think
I'll leave
50
that.
is good.
Because if we're taking care of maintenance, some of the projects have more maintenance than others.
We can't use it for maintenance. It can only be used for new capital investment,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah, and it says in the document that the business has to take care of maintenance.
If it's on their private property, yes.
Right. But if it's something that we put up, we have to take care of maintenance.
Yep.
And I think it's going to be more tolerable for both the council to approve and for developers to want to build here if it's the 0.5%
Lower.
and the 50,000 cap. I mean, I'm happy to be corrected.
I'm
That's-
okay with that, but I do know, everything is going up in price and has gone up in price since we started with this project.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Abby, do you recall how much the stained glass was at the police?
50,000. but that was in 2009, I think.
Okay, but it's
That
pretty
was-
big. It's pretty massive.
It is,
Mhm.
and we had travel expenses because she came from the Twin Cities to install it.
Because I recall when we were looking for estimates for the roundabout, the artist that did the thing, I'm so specific, at the apartment building off Parmenter, can't remember his
Yes.
name.
Jacob Klein.
Yes, I think that cost like 20, maybe it was 25,000.
I was thinking 25 too, Meg. And
Yeah,
remember, if we get the cash in the fund, we could do a $200,000 project after 4 TIF deals. You know,
Yeah.
we could save it up.
Can you
I
talk
would-
about,
So,
I was just gonna ask,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
No, please ask what you were gonna ask. I was gonna try to wrap us up here, so go ahead.
I'm just, the rules as stated on the document about how things work in terms of, you just mentioned that the maintenance is not part of this. Are those determined by whom?
By the Arts Committee making a recommendation to the Common Council.
So essentially, that could change. I mean, if that was what the committee wanted to do. And then my other question is, so this is very public art focused. Was there ever a discussion of public arts, meaning not, physical art? Now that we have the Stonehorse Green space, how are we affording the arts in that space?
So I am, I'm going to say 90% certain that our city attorneys would say the TIF dollars here can only go to a permanent capital improvement. So nothing that's temporary
Right.
and also not maintenance, because that's how they apply it to city infrastructure. So for example, we can reconstruct a road using TIF dollars, but we can't maintain and repave or chip seal a road. That has to be done with general operating funds. And then as far as your second question, we do need to find a sustainable funding source for programming and activities at the Stonehorse Green, but we are fortunate that we got a $15,000 grant to kick it off from Madison Community Foundation. And then 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got an $8,000 donation. And then we also have heard from a local property owner that they are willing to donate enough funding to provide 1 whole extra year of programming.
Okay.
So far, we've been pretty fortunate with private funding coming in.
Okay.
So are there other questions or comments about this? And
I was just gonna comment on the math earlier. It would, if we're asking for 0.5%, it would take a $10 million project to hit that cap.
Oh, oops, I'm sorry. I should have done that on my calculator. Okay,
Oh.
so we would get 30,000 for if it's a $6 million TIF ask, we would get 30,000. So it would take, I see what you're saying, Erin. Okay.
Yeah,
sorry about
I just
that.
wanted to put it in perspective, so, because like you mentioned at the beginning, I don't want anyone thinking, oh God, we're gonna have to scramble to, fill $50,000 really quick. I think that.
And we did have a project approved recently that is receiving over $10 million in TIF
Nice.
incentives.
So how does this sound as a plan? Like if we hold off on the website button, cross that off of our list and try and move forward with percent for arts first, that doesn't get approved, then the website button could maybe be our fallback. And
well,
then,
aren't those independent of one another though?
I think so, right?
I mean, we
Because
we could still have people in the community donating to the arts committee and use that for general fund purposes. I think they're mutually exclusive of one another.
so you want to do both?
Yeah, I think they're gonna be different purposes.
Okay.
I think just balancing it, if you're looking at resources and you want the committee to get on board and get behind something and try to get something done and approved, I would recommend you do the TIF because you're looking at $100,000 a year versus $200 a year. So to me, that's like a much bigger thing, and we've already got momentum for it. So I would start there. I really don't, I mean, just based on what I've heard from the youth center, unless we're really heavily marketing it, the website donate button, it's not going to be a huge revenue generator for us.
Well, we can
So,
direct people there, but I think that we need to, well, first of all, we were just talking about how maintenance cannot be included in this, and we're gonna need money in our general fund to maintain things. If we had not had the insurance money for Self-Made Man, we would not have money to repair it. And so, I mean, a donate button should not take much to get implemented.
Yeah, I think the only thing that needs to be done for the donate button is for you guys to select which website you want to use. Cause I think the original one that we were talking about, it's only for school district projects. So that's a pretty relatively easy bar, but I'm telling you, like from a staff administration time, unless you guys are going out and heavily marketing it, I think we are going to spend more money and staff time administering it than you're going to get through the donate button. And that's just based on what I've heard from the youth center and how they've been able to use it for fundraising. Because I think if somebody's going to write us a check for $5,000, they're not going to use the donate button. They're going to write us a check for $5,000. So the donate button is going to be, if we're really going out and heavily marketing it, we're going to get 25 here, 50 there, but it's not going to be thousands and thousands of dollars.
I think it should be on every piece of marketing material that we have.
But just to be
donate the
clear.
Arts committee, go to blah, blah website.
But just to be clear, we can pursue both, right? You're just
Yes.
saying, Abby, if we're gonna all show up on the same date, we should get behind the percent first. And
Yeah.
then, okay, what would be the
Yeah, so-
date that we'd all have to be there? Because I think that's an important thing as far as what agenda this hits, is to make sure people can actually be
Well,
there
if
and
you
speak.
guys, if you guys formally approve it tonight, I think we would take it to the common council as soon as 11/1.
The first, okay, so it's the first Tuesday of the month.
Mhm.
I don't know if you would strategically want it, maybe this is a better question for Katie, but you could also consider waiting until November 15th. And I'm just thinking that the city has a referendum right now on the ballot and election day is November 8th. And if we don't want to have to worry about it somehow getting tied in with the referendum or confusing the message or something like that, you could wait and decide to place it on the 11/15 agenda.
What time is it at?
7:30 is
yeah.
council meeting,
Starts at 7:30?
and public comments are first thing.
Okay, then I could attend either one of those.
I actually think that's a very good thought, to not complicate things with the referendum question that's going up for vote on November 8th. And it might, yeah, I just feel like Abby's right.
Well, then let's shoot for the 15th, or alternatively, we could do the first week of December as well.
Okay, so we need to make a
Sure.
motion to.
I
Yeah.
cannot make it. I guess everyone look at their calendars, because if we're gonna actually support this thing, I'd like the best showing possible. I could not make it the first Tuesday in December, so.
It doesn't make any difference to me. I can make pretty much any of those. So, whatever you guys decide. The 15th works for me.
How about everyone else? I know we have a hard time getting quorum. That's the main reason I'm asking.
Well, yeah, I will definitely be there because I have to be.
The 15th works for me as well.
Okay, so shall we just go with that then?
Okay,
How about everybody else? Kathleen and Julia, you guys okay?
I have a standing commitment on Tuesdays at 7 o'clock,
Oh, sorry.
but I'm
Yeah.
not sure I'm going to be able to make it, but I think you should move forward regardless.
Yeah. Agree. Cool.
I have
have any objections to the date. Sorry.
I think she said she didn't have any objections.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay,
So Meg, are you the,
Sure, I will make a motion to approve the, what is this called? Percent for Arts. Is there a document name? To present the Percent for Arts one pager to the Common Council on November 15th.
and should we, Abby, do you want Meg to mention that it's a 0.5% and not the 1, and that the cap is $50,000?
Sure.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the Percent for Arts program at 0.5%, not to exceed $50,000. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay. I do this all the time. No, I'm kidding.
I will
I'll
second
second
that.
it. Oh. Go ahead,
So-
Katie, 30 seconds.
I'll second that. Basically, we are recommending it to the council. So yeah, great.
And I think that probably what the council will end up doing is putting it into some kind of ordinance form, but this is like taking the concept forward for them to take it from there.
And so Abby, then do you get to request of Brian, the city administrator, which agenda it goes on?
Yeah, I just put it on the agenda myself.
Okay,
And I just put it, the reason I wasn't moving the thing for Meg to get the title is because I was putting it on our list of items going forward. I just wanted to make sure that I remembered which meeting. So we're good.
great. Woohoo, we're moving.
Yay.
Do we still need to discuss
Yeah.
the roundabout funds then?
Well, let's finish this motion. So Katie seconded, all in favor of this going on the agenda, the 15th?
Aye.
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 Okay, so then we can move on to, if you want to talk about roundabout fund and percent, or I mean, donation button, we can do that tonight, or we can have Abby put it at the top of our agenda next time. Do you want to proceed on and talk about these other things?
Does anybody want to take it on to try to look and see what website you want to use to house the funds? Because I think the one that you were looking at last time, if I'm remembering right, was Donors Choose, which I think is just for schools.
Can take it on and look up some and then have that prepared for our next meeting.
Okay.
Does that work, or do we want to discuss it now? Seems like we should have some more information, right?
Probably so, since
Okay.
the previous website wasn't adequate.
Okay.
Thanks, Erin.
Yes, thanks. The roundabout funds, that's gonna need a little bit of an update for the new folks too, and I'll just go ahead and give a really brief synopsis of this. So we were going to do a piece of artwork in the roundabout on Parmenter Street. And as it ended up, this project was dragging on for years. And the artist had retired. And then we found out that the DOT would not allow us to put artwork in the roundabout. So we had funds that people had donated to the roundabout project. And we essentially sent letters out to everyone asking them if they would like to have their money back or if they would like to have it used for another project. The majority wanted to just go ahead and use it for a different project. And so now we have this money in the quote unquote, or the quote unquote roundabout funds. And so we need to figure out how and when we're going to use that. Was that pretty much the gist of it?
Yeah, I just have one question, Abby. We cannot use these funds for maintenance, correct?
Some of them we can, because we had that as an option that we gave people. And I think it's a small amount. I would have to go back and look. I would say it's between 1,000 and 1,500 that we can use for maintenance. I did want to say one thing though, based on what Michelle had mentioned earlier. All of the artwork that we have in our collection is on our insurance policy. So if something does get damaged, you know, like Self-Made Man did in that manner, we would get some funding and we would have coverage. But this is more pertaining to like ongoing maintenance, like rust or things like that that come up.
Abby, I'm looking in the packet and I don't see that. Do you have the total of the roundabout fund at this point?
Well, we put all of the funds from there into our non-lapsing fund.
Oh, yeah.
And so I should be able to get on the VPN and pull it up in our accounting software and show you. The other thing that I can do is I can put a report. I can have our finance department run a report, which we can put into the packet next time if you wish.
That'd be great. Awesome.
Because we did dip into the non-lapsing fund a bit during the art walk, but there's still quite a bit of funding in there. Let me see here. Let's see if I can pull it up. Sorry, I'm just looking for the number, the account number. I'm on the VPN now. Okay. Revenues, I think it's okay. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to give this to you guys exactly because the way that it's set up here, I'll pull it up so I can kind of explain it. So this is the city's accounting software, and there's a revenue fund and there's an expense fund. So the revenues go way, 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 way back because we've had this fund set up for a long time. Actually, this is probably the very beginning of it. So let me see here. I think I'm gonna have to do, I think I have to look not only at the revenues, but I have to look at the expenditures, and then I have to look at this equity account in order to figure it all out. So I don't know exactly what
Okay,
amount
I'm
we have,
sorry. I didn't mean to send you into this big.
but you can see like the last deposits that were made into the non-lapsing fund were from like the silent auction, which is what we're using to pay for the youth center project. And then also all of the art walk fees we put into the non-lapsing fund. But I think I can pull together a report and we could put it on the next agenda so that you guys will have that exact total. The last time that I had looked at it, which I think was the last email that I sent out to you guys, there was over 21,000 available in that fund. But the main change to that is that the funds that the Middleton Community Endowment had donated toward the roundabout sculpture was about 8,000, and they converted that over to programming instead for the Stonehorse Green. So I think you probably have around 21,000 minus the 8,000, which would be about 13,000. Plus, I'm not sure if I gave that to you before or after the art walk. So let me look here. Yeah, that update that I sent you guys was in January of 2022. So it was before a lot of the art walk deposits came in. So you probably, I'm just going to say ballpark, you have over 13,000.
Okay, so. But I don't know that we need to take any action on these other two things at this time. The roundabout fund, since it's in our revolving fund, I think, we don't have to worry about that so much. It's not going anywhere. We can,
Yeah, it's just more a matter of prioritizing projects and knowing that it's there in case you have a project that you want to proceed with.
all right, so shall we then is there any other discussion about this? Shall we move on to the second agenda item?
Yeah, so the second item, I know Daphne gave you guys an update at your last meeting that MG&E refused to give us formal permission, and we can't spend $1,400 per wrapped box without having written permission. So we've decided to pivot that project. And initially what Daphne had mentioned is that we were looking at the traffic boxes, which I think is still an option, but I think we maybe came up with a better option that I want to propose to you guys and get your thoughts. And that is the bus shelters. So we looked into it a bit with Madison Metro Transit. So the bus shelters have 3 sides that are glass. They do not want the sides that are perpendicular to the street to have anything that would make it so that they can't see into the shelter to see if somebody is waiting for a bus. But they would have no concerns if we were to wrap the back. There's no concerns at all. They said that they would give us permission to do that. And the reason that I like the idea is that it would align with the new Madison Metro redesign, which is going into effect in spring or summer of 2023.
I also like it because I think it gives more opportunity for different mediums to submit. If we would do multiple rounds of this, I know we already chose the ones for the first round, but like someone who does pottery could have a picture of that, and that could even go on there. So
how many are there, Abby?
Let me see here.
And what is the cost of doing that compared to doing the utility boxes?
I don't have a cost estimate because I wanted to see if you guys were on board. My guess is it's probably going to be less.
Yeah, it would be less. We have a quote for a similar thing in our office on glass, and Alpha Graphics quoted us about $600. And that's for something larger than what we're talking about here.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit more because it's got to be, this is an office, I guess. My quote was for that would have to be for weather material.
They would have to account for like these panes cutting through it. So it's not like a perfectly rectangle flat surface. So that's one thing, but it's much less complicated than wrapping the utility boxes where they have to actually lay out the graphic design and repeat the image and wrap the corners. So this one's on Terrace Avenue. This one is on Fortune Drive. Here's one on University Avenue, Pinehurst. And then this is a new location. So kind of what our staff was thinking is that these ones are going to be in place for a while once we move them, because we're completely redoing the routes and it's going to prioritize Parmenter Street. So the new route is very efficient. It's 30-minute all day service. The goal being, instead of trying to cover the whole entire city and pick up everyone, which makes it really inefficient, the new route is going to be all day, every 30 minutes, very easy to catch if you live nearby one of those corridors. And the corridors are Allen Boulevard, Century Avenue, and Parmenter Street. So what made me think of it is that the Parmenter Street corridor is the spine for public art as identified in our original master plan. And if we were to do it, we're probably going to have them in place for a while. I don't know, off the top of my head, I don't know how many exactly there are, but Mark Opitz in my department he handles our metro service, so I'm sure he has a database of them.
That's a really
okay with
good idea. I love it.
Yeah, I like it better than the,
We could actually do a combo effect too. I mean, we could find some traffic signals and some bus shelters. We could do whatever you guys wanted to do.
I think that's a good idea. I wouldn't mind doing both. I like the idea of the shelters because everybody wraps utility boxes. All cities wrap utility boxes now.
Apparently without permission.
Yeah, our
So-
attorney won't let us get away with that.
did we have to have this done by the end of the year, or can we ask for an extension, or how does that work?
We can ask for a capital carryover.
Okay. Should we just plan to do that since it's probably not gonna be done
I think so.
by January?
So
Okay.
can we just use the same artist that they already selected? Okay. Yeah, I love it.
So what do you need us to do? Approve changing?
I don't think you need to take any action tonight. I think what we would do is we would come back with like specific recommendations for the locations and get an image and make sure that it's going to be in that same spot and try to match the artwork and then bring it forward for you guys to have something to react to.
Okay.
Okay.
Good idea, Abby. I love it.
Yeah, me too.
Should be easier. And Metro has been really good to work with. They were right away like, oh yeah, that sounds great. We would love to have that. So
Is this something that in future, that there are enough of in like future years that we can do like a second call for artists?
great question. I mean, if I had it my way, every single stop that we had would have concrete for accessibility and would have a shelter because we live in Wisconsin. I think that there should be at every single bus stop, but you know, that's a matter of looking at having enough resources because most of the shelters we have, we buy them used once Madison Metro decides to get rid of them.
Okay,
Well, now we can spruce them up.
there
Yes.
we go. Mhm.
Good idea.
All right, so next we're moving on to the sign project.
Yeah, so I know there was a lot of discussion on this at the last meeting. I went ahead and pulled it right away from the city's budget request because we were already past the deadline at that point. I had to submit it in August. So given that it didn't sound like there was consensus, I was like, we're already too far into the budget process, so I just pulled it out. It seems like there isn't support for moving forward with it, or maybe there's a desire to explore it more. I'm fine with whatever you guys choose to do. If you want to explore it more, it's something we could look at requesting in the future budget, or possibly using this % for arts if we're able to get it approved.
Hmm.
All right, here's a wild dream of mine that it gets lit again with solar power
Oh,
on the hill. So maybe don't throw them away. And we just keep ideas rolling.
That'd be awesome. I love that.
I agree, and I think, if we do get the 0.5% for art, then we could use that, or we could also look at it for next year's capital project if we wanted to do something with it. I think the short notice was part of the problem, and also the condition of the letters was, I think, a little more rough than we expected. So shall we then just kind of keep this open and discuss it further as we go on?
Do you want me to keep it on your agenda for next month?
Yeah, I think so.
How long can we leave the letters at the recycling center?
Oh gosh, they've been there for 5 years and no one's kicked us out. So I think it's fine. We got time.
So, if before we move on, Drew had a kind of a neat idea, a little bit more rough than what we originally planned on doing, but what if we did it more like, you know, the cows or the badgers, where like each artist get a letter and they get to like spruce it up however you want, and then you could auction them off or something like that. I don't know. You definitely have to pay the artists because they get paid when they do the Bucky and cows and stuff, but just kind of like a neat, another idea that we could think about.
Very
So,
cool.
That's a good idea.
Do we need it on next month's already? Should we
could push it further.
defer it to next year? Like
Yeah.
the beginning of next year?
yeah, that's a good
We
idea.
could push it to January.
I also was gonna say, and I don't know if we already discussed this or not, but like beginning of every year, could we have discussion for the capital budget on the agenda? So I think we need more time to discuss what to request.
I
Doesn't-
agree.
It doesn't take the arts committee. We don't make fast decisions, so we need more time to discuss.
Yes, we move at a tortoise pace.
To piggyback on Meg's comment, though, I know that just the financials, the number was a large part of the discussion last time with this. I mean, we could always consider having local businesses each sponsor a letter too. And then it's not so much of a hit.
That's a
as
good
far as the city's
idea.
concerned.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like that's a low enough price point that, you know, in line with other sponsorships, that Middleton-based businesses would probably be glad to do that and cover artist costs too.
Mhm.
So I say
Okay.
keep it on the agenda.
So let's push it to January and put it on the January agenda, and then we can kind of bring maybe some more ideas to the table. We can think about things that we might do between now and then. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, so then I guess we should move next to Art Walk. Art Walk, I'm working on getting the call for artists for the artwork out. Meg just sent me all the files for Art Walk from last year. One of the things, Meg had a great idea. We were talking about Art Walk and doing the call for artists for the promotional artwork. And she had suggested that in addition to just the publicity that you get from that, that we offer a free booth space to that artist, which I thought was a good idea. And so, and since we did not do that for Aaron this year, we thought we could retroactively offer Aaron a free booth space for this coming art walk.
Oh.
But we thought that might be a little added incentive for people to participate. So that's kind of where we're at. And the other thing I wanted to mention about Art Walk is I would like to open up our Art Walk subcommittee to just people in general in the community. And see, because we're going to need more people to help plan. And so I would like to put an article in the newspaper and put that on our Facebook page and, or on the website, anywhere that we can put it.
Would we want to consider inviting like known local? I'm just thinking of people, like Jessica at Regal Find or John and Christine at the gallery, like people that are already, in Middleton that might have direct interest?
Well, I would like to just put it out there for anyone that is interested, because you know, I feel like we're gonna need a lot more help than we've had, and so but yes, certainly you can ask them. I thought maybe I would ask Rhiannon if she wanted to join the planning committee. She has some great ideas. So, you know, yes, if you have somebody specific you want to ask, for sure.
I'm
But-
just worried for anyone who has never been part of something like this, you know, how much you, Meg, and I struggled to like hone in all the ideas last year, and knowing the timeline we already have. We
It's
need
a lot.
volunteers. I'm not trying to like shoot it down. I'm just thinking that people that might be interested that may have no experience whatsoever might be hard to keep us on track.
I think people that are gonna be interested are gonna be people that are interested in art. That's been my experience. I've been on other public committees. And so but I would like to open it up and see what we get, because right now I don't have anybody. So, you know, I'm starting to already panic about getting everything done, and it's only October.
Do we have a follow-up meeting with Matt, by the way?
I don't think anything's been scheduled.
Okay. Do we, obviously, he wants to be in the know, but do we have to coordinate with him month to month, or can our subcommittee proceed forward?
I think probably as it gets closer, maybe in these early meetings, not so much.
Okay, I just don't know. And Abby, maybe you have more insight, but after meeting with like all the parks people earlier this week, like I am struggling to figure out what exactly he, you know, is involved in, and what he does or does not need heads up on, and how that's coordinating with all the city's different departments, really.
Well, I mean, he's been inordinately busy trying to get the Stone Horse Green opening done. And so it's just been like the last couple weeks that he's like had a breather. He's organizing all the fall fun events. He's got the holiday tree lighting that he's working on. And then over the winter months is when he will have a lot more time to focus on like planning forward for other events. But I mean, really until after 11/19, he's going to be pretty busy. Come 11/19, after the holiday tree, or it's not even the holiday tree lighting anymore, it's Light the Green. After that big event, he's going to have time to like take a breather and then do more forward looking. But he's been, I mean, just because of the delays in the construction and other issues, like he's been running around like a wild person. And remember, he's only half time too.
Well, we'll definitely need his help more as we get closer, but right now we need help in the planning phase, and so you know, certainly if you have people that you would like to ask to join the planning committee, then I'm open to that. So, you know,
Okay.
send them my email, and
I think the one thing I would just mention about Rhiannon, she is so organized and phenomenal, but I can't imagine a scenario where she's going to want to do this without getting paid. Because she said before, she was very clear when she came back to the arts committee after the event, you need to pay me. So I just would want to make sure that you're not stepping into a situation where you might offend her, since she was previously paid to do that job.
well, I mean, I don't have to ask her to help. She was just someone that I thought might be a good resource.
If she'd be willing to do it, she's amazing.
I will talk to her. I will probably see her at the youth center project next month. So
Is it
I will talk to her about it and see what she has to say.
There is, of course, a question of, you know, funding, but is it a bad idea to consider paying someone? John and Christine from John Christine Gallery had referred me to this person named Amy, who is very nationally well known for doing exactly this. If it's something in a long-term goal to build this event, I don't think it's a bad idea to entertain paying someone
Well, I don't either, but we don't have any money right now to pay anybody, so I don't know where that funding would come from. I mean, I'm open to suggestions. If you know, I mean, if we, yeah, I just don't know.
Yeah,
I
I'm just
would-
saying
but I
it's
would-
gonna be
I
hard
mean-
because no volunteers want to get burnt out on this stuff year after year, and it's,
Well, I would still like to throw it out there and see what we get in regard to volunteers and see, you know, who would like to help with planning. There are people who really like to do that kind of thing.
okay. Well, I will ask a couple people I think might be interested. If anyone else knows people, please feel free to do that. Are you just putting this in for free in your paper then?
Yeah,
we
I'll
need a
just run
budget
an
approval?
article that the arts committee is looking for committee members, subcommittee members to plan art walk. And I'll, you know, I mean, we can vet them too. You know, we don't have to just accept everyone. We can vet them. They don't have any experience or do not have any kind of art background or anything to bring to the table, then, you know, we don't have to say yes.
Michelle, once you have it typed up, would you mind sending it to me, and then I'll just copy it and I'll try to put like a graphic or something together to put it out on the city's Facebook page.
Yeah, I'll get
Yeah.
some together for you.
And then you and I should set up a follow-up meeting, Michelle, now that I'm out of the hospital and generally
Yes.
back on my feet.
Yes, so I'll email you later and we can look at times.
Okay. Sounds good.
And if anybody wants to help with the planning, anybody on the committee? or
Meg,
know
going once,
anybody?
going twice, Meg?
Nah.
I'm teasing.
All right, so
I'm,
anything,
I'm kind of on Rhiannon's side there. I want to get paid if I do it again. So it was a lot of work. I probably spent
What
like
happened to
50 hours on
altruism?
that last year.
anyway, any other comments on art walk?
Mm-mm.
No. All right, well then, shall we move on to the youth art event tables? It's all you, Erin.
Yes, so I know this is a subject that generated much discussion at the last meeting as well. I just kind of ran the one this past Monday when schools were out by myself. Parks gave me Evelyn, who traditionally teaches like yoga part-time for the city of Middleton at Rec Center. So I was glad to have an extra set of hands. We had a pretty good turnout. I should have sent you pictures, Abby. I apologize. With pumpkin decorating and all kinds of Halloween crafts. I know one of the main issues raised last time was just the pure need for volunteers to staff these things. I personally love these events. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I did not have such a strong art influence growing up, and that's why it means a lot to me personally. I'm heartbroken for the fact that my child gets one day of art a week in schools because it's like a rotational free period balanced with one day of gym a week, which is also ridiculous, one day of music a week, and then like technology and guidance, I think are the other two. So that's why I feel so passionate about this. That said, it is, you know, all about balanced volunteer time. Parks, I think this is a nice collaboration with it. I don't think that they are by any means, you know, trying to use us for volunteers. They are also very short-staffed and spread very thin. I think every program, library, rec center, you name it, is spread thin. So anytime we can mutually collaborate on these events and have them in one space is a really great thing, especially now with the addition of the downtown Middleton with Matt and these separate events. It's hard. That said, Greg from Parks and Rec sent me an entire list for 2023, and by no means can I commit to like every single day that school is out. That is a lot. Some of the dates I think are just high school dates out that can be easily written off because I don't see many high schoolers showing up for arts and crafts. But I would like it if we could keep it in mind for the low budget, which is generally been around 500 that we've approved for the last 2 years for supplies to be able to run these things. The holiday events in particular, we'll be doing not the tree lighting since the downtown has taken over that, but the candy cane hunt with parks, and that will be down at Lakeview, and it'll be indoors on Saturday. If anyone would like to help with that, I have everything already. About half the ornaments prepackaged, so it's really just about crowd control and set up and clean up and things like that.
What day is that,
Um,
Erin?
It's Saturday, December 17th.
Okay,
And I think they said they were going to do it from about 3 to 5, if memory serves, because the sun goes down about 5 and they want to redirect everybody to the candy cane hunt at that time. So, and then of course, I'm not sure if everyone knows, but our Parks Department overturned. So both Rebecca, who was our assistant director, left probably about a month ago now, Abby. And then Matt Amundsen, director, his last day is tomorrow. So we have some turnover there. We have Kylie, who comes now and just started on the 10th from Port Washington, and I'm excited about her joining because she has a lot of special events experience. So I think there's an opportunity to do some really cool stuff with these future events as a collaboration between parks and arts. And she also has a lot of fundraising experience, which makes me very happy to not have the financial burden possibly in the future here. So I can send out a list. I am only going to personally commit to parks to the dates that I know I can be there, just because it's been a problem with, volunteer staffing these, and I would hate to print it in the Parks and Rec guide and then not have anyone there. If anyone else is interested, I will send out a list of dates and you can let me know if it's something you think you could do. Obviously, everyone with kids, these are out of school days, so I understand the balance and being able to watch your own kids and also help with these things. Parks is willing to obviously provide the facility space, so there's no concern there. But yeah, and then there is the toss up, which we haven't worked out the specifics for, since Stonehorse Green is the new thing. There was the thought that we could somehow collaborate over the summer months when there are these music events, kind of like we did, 2 summers ago now, when it was still just the picnic tables and, the COVID thing, and we had music. I think Thursday nights we did it for 8 weeks, right? So if we could do something like that in the summer, that'd be great, because then, kind of the adults can have their music or, focus on that. And then the library, I think, had done a few tables too, and we had done some tables. So it's just a nice complement to what's going on downtown. So yeah, I think that, not that we need to vote on it now, because it's a 2023 budget that we would be requesting for these things, but just wanted to update everybody and send out those dates. And I really think it would be a great thing to keep going. Everyone that attends these has a million thank yous and great things to say about them and how appreciative they are that we have continued to do these. So I think it would be great to keep in some capacity without overloading ourselves on volunteer hours.
well, why don't you go ahead and send the list of dates out, Erin, so that we can take a look at it, and if somebody can work that into their schedule, then we can help out with that.
Is the fall, the MCPASD fall 2023 schedule is not out yet, is it? We would just have until school gets out?
Yeah, I think they vote on it in January every year.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
either January or February. They usually
Yeah.
work on the coming year's calendar, so but we can at least fill out the rest of the school year.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I will get all of that together. And like I said, I think that the budget request would probably stay around the same. I would personally look to, if we're expanding the number of these we do, I would personally look to seek donations from local businesses. I know I can always count on my company as a sponsorship, but I think we'd have no problem, you know, if we do a couple more of these, getting a couple $100 in sponsorships from businesses too.
Maybe we should do a story about sponsorship opportunities within the Arts Committee.
We should.
All right, any comments or questions for Erin about the art tables? Okay, so we will look for your email then, Erin. And then our next project is Youth Center. Abby has some pictures to share of Meg's sticker workshop that she did with the kids, and the stickers turned out great. Meg is actually sending them to be printed.
Oh, I love it, Meg. That's so
They're
great.
So cool.
Actually, I think Abby's ordering them, I think. Did you get my email?
Yes, I did. I was helping Matt set up the screen when you sent it, so I haven't responded yet, but I will do that.
Okay, I'll send you my password and they should just be like in my cart, so you can just like click through and order.
Should we post these like on our city Facebook? I feel like they're very cool, or on the arts page or anything.
Sure, I
Absolutely.
think that'd be a great idea, the first youth center project, and if you'd like to donate to the youth center art projects.
Hint, hint.
Send us a check.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I thought they turned out great. They're really creative.
I love Cece's dragon there. That's cool.
Mhm.
It's very specific on colors. So I didn't have
Dang.
them add colors so I could scan them in easier.
Did they hand draw? So they hand drew all these.
Yeah, they hand drew
Right.
them all and then they traced over their pencil with micron. And then
Caleb's got a talent for animation there.
yeah. He was looking at a picture on his computer because all the kids have their own Chromebooks. So they just like open up their Chromebooks and they're just like, copying.
Nice.
I'm like, well, copying's a great way to learn. So
I
I'm
like
not
that.
reselling it.
I liked the bird. I thought that was my favorite one.
Yeah.
The second one from Caleb there. Yeah, that's what I
I
was
like
looking
the
at.
first one. It's cool too.
Yeah.
The Martian head dude.
Think about how happy they are, Meg, to be able to slap a sticker on their Chromebooks after this.
Yeah. So they're going to each get 10 die cut vinyl stickers. So those, I mean, like, I know vinyl's terrible for the environment, so I kind of cringe when I order them, but they do last a long time and you can peel them off. Like, if you have like a metal water bottle that it's on, you can peel them off and re-stick them on something else. Like they're really heavy duty, nice stickers. So it's kind of like, if you get like the eco-friendly ones, they're like, they peel off and they're not very good. It's unfortunate, but like, oh man. But I think the kids will really like them.
So I think that was a good kickoff to the youth center projects this year. And then Rhiannon will be there next month doing linoleum cut prints. So they'll cut the linoleum the first week and then they will print those for the first month and then they'll print in December. So that is the next project. And
I know we all have them all filled at this point. Do we know if any dates need extra helpers? Like I wrote them all down in my calendar, but
I'm sure that if you wanted to come and help, no one would protest. They can always use extra hands. They do have a para that is there to help.
okay.
But yes, extra hands are welcome if anyone wants to come and help. If there's something in particular that you think looks fun and you want to do it. Like if you really want to learn cartooning, then you can come and help with that. And, whatever you want to do. I think I sent a list out. If I did not, I can certainly send one out of the
Yeah, I think you did. I just need to pull it back up.
the coming projects. So anyway, that's really all I have for the youth center. That's pretty well, hopefully going pretty well.
Gabrielle gave a presentation to the council on Tuesday night and she highlighted the collaboration and thanked the arts committee for it.
Oh, that's nice. Well, good. Someone appreciates us. All right, anything else? Oh, can I just mention real quick, I am working on trying to find someone to repair Self-Made Man. And I have two different companies that I've contacted that I'm waiting to hear back from. They both have finally gotten back to me, so I am working on that.
Also,
Complete.
I think the mayor is going to be appointing, if he hasn't already, Sebastian Norbeck, who gave a presentation at your last meeting, to serve on the committee.
Hmm. He was the water tower
Yes.
person? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Random question, how much, I have no idea how much sculptures run. Do you know what the figure was for the Self-Made Man?
Was it 50, Abby?
Originally, you mean the purchase or the?
Yeah, the purchase.
Oh, I don't think it was that much. But that one there, it's like she sells them on her website. You could actually go and look on Bobby Carlisle's website and you can see how much they cost. Because
Okay,
there are lots of them out there in different, you can get any size. It was donated to the city, so we didn't buy that one.
okay. I'm just curious about like roundabout funds. Steve Cohen had an idea about putting a statue out there along the bike path. You know, it sounded cool, and just curious if that was anywhere near the amount that we have, or if we're gonna have to raise a bunch more.
Well, and he came to the Stonehorse Green opening because he sponsored one of the Stone Horses for 25,000.
Yeah,
And he mentioned that again, and he's like, I would be willing to help the arts committee or help you guys if you want to pull it together.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I know he's a huge supporter. He's a client of ours, so he's had this conversation a couple times. So just out of curiosity, I'm like, what could we do out there?
So anyway, next month, hopefully I will have a report on how much the new estimates will be for Self-Made Man. And Vanguard, one of the companies I contacted, just got done refurbishing the bronze fawns in Milwaukee.
oh yeah, it disappeared and people thought it was stolen, but it was just
They were refurbishing it, so. Anyway, and they are in Milwaukee, and the other company is Sculpture Resource, and they're in Highland Park, Illinois. I tried to find some in Wisconsin. They're really hard to find. Conservators are really hard to find in Wisconsin, so.
yeah. Highland Park is closed. That would be awesome.
It's not that far. So anyway, anything else, anyone? No? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I can make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, I'll see you next month.
All right, have a good night.
Bye guys. Have a good night.
Night.